JKB back with another episode. Today on the show, I'm checking out the Game & Watch Legend of Zelda edition. Now, of course, thank you to Nintendo Canada for sending over this review unit. I do want to say, I feel privileged and it's an honor to be able to check these things out. So, thank you so much to Nintendo Canada. It really does mean a lot to me. This device, not to get emotional right off the top here, but Legend of Zelda is obviously my favorite series of all time. There's reasons for that. I have a Triforce tattoo. There's reasons for that. Now, not to get into super detail, but when I was a kid playing the NES version, and more so the Super Nintendo Link to the Past, it was escapism, and it put me on an adventure. So this is so special to me because when I was a kid, I needed to go on those adventures because I just didn't have that ability, just for many reasons. So having something like this, I think Nintendo understands that, and maybe other people understand that as well, but having something like this now to adults is super meaningful. So putting the emotions aside, this is a device that is based on Nintendo's old Game & Watch series. This dates back to the beginnings of when they started to get into, obviously handheld gaming, but more so the idea of putting a game on the go and letting you play with your friends. Now, back in the 80s when I was young, there was all sorts of handheld devices that used basically the same technology as this, maybe, but not this technology because this is different. But back in the day, they used essentially what it looked like a calculator. So Nintendo took that idea and, that's how the Game Boy was born and blah, blah, blah. I don't need to go into history here, but eventually, I think in the last couple of years, Nintendo realized that their fans would want these sort of items, and I definitely wanted this one. So moving on to the box itself, it's going to show everything that's on the system itself here. You've got the original Legend of Zelda, you've got Zelda 2, which some people are not huge fans of. I don't mind it, it's very nostalgic playing it now. And you have Link's Awakening, which is a Game Boy game. So having that on here is also incredible because, well, I'll admit this, I never played it back in the day. I don't know why. I was a weird kid. I thought having Mario characters in a Zelda game was just not, it broke my brain. I didn't like it. Then you have a version of Vermin. Now Vermin is an original Game & Watch game that they've updated to include Link. So that's kind of interesting to see on here as well. And then of course you have a playtime clock, which, back in the day you might have needed if your parents were like, you can't play this all day. It's kind of cool to have that here. And you, of course, have a playtime timer, so you can time out things and put alarms on it. So moving on to the device itself, I should say this came with this cool case. And I know the lighting is not perfect for this because I'm trying to make it look really good, but the shine and everything just doesn't work great. But here's the device itself. And let me get some shots of it. You can see the screen here. Now, it's very difficult to film these screens and make them look good, but I wanted to get a close-up here to show you that it came with this insert case, which is actually a stand. So you're able to put it on the desk like this and show it off to your friends, which is actually pretty cool, especially if you don't plan on really playing with this device. Now, of course, I'm not going to go into detail of showing gameplay here or anything like that. We know what the games are, we know how they play, but of course you just hit a button here and it's as simple as choosing the game you want to play and hitting enter. That game is going to load, put your name in, and we start the game. It's that simple. Now, it has a decent speaker on here. It's USB-C 3 charging, so you can use the charge cable that comes with it, of course, or the cable from your Nintendo Switch. And I know most of you probably have a Nintendo Switch, so that's useful too if you're going to use this device. It is super thin. I find that it feels so the nostalgia factor of this game is just insane. Just to be able to play it in your hand. A Game Boy game now on this screen. The screen looks good. The D-pad feels it feels a touch looser than an NES controller. But for the most part, this is incredible. If you've never played Link's Awakening, especially the remake that came on the Switch, this is probably the way you want to check it out for the first time because it's part of that nostalgia trip. It's mind-blowing holding this thing, and you can clearly just go through the games or the screen with ease by pushing the button. So I can load up the original Zelda here. It's paused to a save state. You got that sort of thing in here. But I mean, it just works, and playing it in your hand is just weird because I spent so much time with it. So we can go into Vermin here, and I could show you that. Now, it's hard to see that, but there you go. That's the original game. The idea is that you're supposed to be capturing or actually crushing vermin on the ground by moving him back and forth. So it definitely is something that I would check out if you're a hardcore Nintendo fan. It's pure nostalgia for me, to be honest. It's just one of those devices that Nintendo really understands what the fans want, and that is what I wanted as a Legend of Zelda fan. Now, do I want to see like a part 2 where they put Link's Awakening? I would buy that instantly. So overall, build quality reminds me of the original devices. I had one later on when I was a bit older in life. So having this thing, I think the only thing I was like kind of, I don't know, not disappointed with, but some of the old ones have stands on them, I believe. So it'd be nice to have a stand on here. You've got the Triforce logo on the back that's engraved as well. This is just, it's just amazing to have. It's just weird to have, you know? As a fan of Zelda growing up and Nintendo having things like this, including, you know, the Super Nintendo Mini and the Nintendo NES Mini, I hope Nintendo can continue doing these things for the fans. And I am super happy with it. Highly recommend it to Zelda fans out there, especially if you have a partner who loves this. This is a great gift to grab for this holiday for them because it's special. It's going to mean something to them as well. It's fun to play. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'll be back soon with some more, and I'll see you in the next episode of JKB.